I smoothed the heavy lace of my wedding dress, waiting on the edge of the king-sized hotel bed. The door clicked open. "Liam?" I asked, a bright smile touching my lips. He did not look at me. He tossed his tailored tuxedo jacket onto a nearby chair. "We need to talk, Elara," he said, his voice completely flat. "Is something wrong?" "The reception was beautiful, but you disappeared early. Are you feeling sick?" I did not leave early. I was upstairs, in room 412. "Who is in 412? I asked, entirely confused. "Chloe." I stared at him, my brain refusing to process the name. "My sister? Why were you with Chloe right now?" He finally met my eyes, crossing his arms over his chest. "I just slept with her, Elara. I have always loved her." The air vanished from the room. My heart did not break. It just froze. "You what?" "I only married you for the stability, Elara. Chloe is the one I actually want. She always has been. She is exciting. You are just so boring and predictable. On our wedding night, you slept with my sister." "Do not be dramatic," he scoffed, rolling up his sleeves. "We are going to stay married. You will give me access to the family trust. And Chloe and I will continue as we always have. If you try to divorce me now, everyone will know your new husband could not even wait an hour to sleep with your own sister. Think of the massive humiliation. Your foolish pride simply cannot take that kind of scandal." I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. I was not going to cry. I was not going to scream. A chilling, absolute numbness washed over my skin, freezing the desperate tears before they could form. His phone buzzed loudly on the glass coffee table. The caller ID flashed brightly. "Mom!" Liam grabbed it, putting it on speaker as he started untying his black dress shoes. "Yeah, Mom? Did you do it?" Sarah's shrill voice crackled sharply through the tiny speaker. "Did she sign the transfer documents yet?" "Not yet. I just told her the truth about Chloe and me." "Liam, you idiot! You were supposed to wait until after she signed. Her trust fund is the absolutely only thing keeping us afloat. If her father finds out before she signs those papers, we get nothing at all. Just calm her down and get her signature immediately." "Relax, Mom. She is not going anywhere. She is too weak and soft to ever fight back. I have total control." Liam hung up the phone and looked at me. "Sign the papers, Elara, then we can all just go to sleep." I stood up slowly. The heavy white gown suddenly felt like heavy armor against my skin. "I need to take off this complicated dress," I whispered softly. "Fine, just be quick about it," he muttered, walking lazily into the bathroom and shutting the door behind him. A brief moment later, the hot shower turned on. They thought I was weak. They actually thought I would roll over and happily fund his sick affair with my sister out of a pathetic fear of social embarrassment. They had underestimated me entirely and completely. I moved extremely quickly and quietly across the room. I unzipped my gown, letting it pool carelessly on the expensive carpet, and quickly slipped into dark blue jeans and a thick winter sweater. I grabbed my small leather overnight bag, throwing in my wallet, passport, and cell phone. I walked straight over to the desk where the trust fund transfer documents sat in a neat, highly professional stack. The signature line at the very bottom was completely blank. I took off my heavy diamond engagement ring and the matching platinum wedding band. I placed them deliberately and perfectly right on top of that completely empty signature line. I did not leave any sort of a note. I did not shed a single tragic tear for him. I walked calmly out of the hotel room and into the freezing dark night, purposely leaving the door slightly ajar. Let us see how long they survive. I sat shivering in the cold passenger seat of Marcus's dark car as we drove quickly through the quiet darkness. "You are absolutely sure about this drastic plan, Elara?" Marcus asked, his hands gripping the leather steering wheel tightly. "Once I actually file this legal paperwork, Liam will be completely locked out. He will inherit the massive business debt without your family trust fund to save him." "I am completely sure," I replied, staring blankly out the window. "File it immediately." "I spoke to your father earlier," Marcus sighed deeply. "Robert was completely devastated. He kept desperately asking me exactly where you went. He absolutely could not believe Chloe would maliciously betray you like that." "Dad always spoiled Chloe," I whispered softly into the quiet car. "He needs to see exactly who she really is now. Do not ever tell him where I am, Marcus. You must promise me." "I promise. You are completely untraceable now." By sunrise, I arrived at a tiny, quiet coastal town. I rented a small, hidden cabin right by the stormy water from Mrs. Higgins. a sweet elderly woman with incredibly kind, knowing eyes. "You look just like a frightened girl running from a very terrible storm," Mrs. Higgins said warmly, handing me a hot cup of herbal tea. "I am the storm," I answered honestly. "But I just need to rest here for a while." "Cry if you need to, sweetheart," she murmured gently and patted my hand. "Salt water cures absolutely everything. Tears are the open ocean. You luckily have both of them right here." And I finally did cry. I sobbed loudly until my lungs ached, fully purging Liam from my system entirely. A long week later, I bought a brand new phone and immediately called my very loyal assistant, Elena. "Elara, thank God you called," Elena gasped frantically over the secure line. "It is pure financial chaos down here. Liam is absolutely losing his selfish mind." "Tell me exactly everything," I said calmly, slowly sipping my warm morning coffee. He suddenly realized the transfer documents were entirely blank. The major bank just called all his business loans and he cannot pay them. Chloe moved straight into his fancy penthouse immediately, and she is selfishly spending his money like flowing water. She actually bought a brand new expensive sports car yesterday. He has no real money left to pay for that vehicle, I noted quietly, smiling softly at the poetic justice. Exactly. He has been angrily leaving highly frantic voicemails on your old disconnected number every single waking hour. I luckily saved all the pathetic recordings just for you. Elena quickly played the digital audio files clearly through the phone. "Elara, please just pick up." Liam's shaky voice sounded incredibly desperate and dangerously thin. "The central bank is calling me. Chloe is driving me totally crazy. She maxed out 3 different credit cards in only 2 days. Please, Elara, I desperately need your valid signature." I laughed loudly out loud for the very first time. Elena started quietly buying up all his failing company's massive debt. "Just use the anonymous shell corporation Marcus set up earlier. I want to legally own every single little thing he has left." "Consider it completely done," Elena replied quite happily. "Your angry father also called Liam yesterday. He formally disowned Chloe entirely and swiftly fired Liam from the entire family board." Good. Over the long next month, I stayed completely hidden in the truly peaceful wooden cabin. I walked alone on the sandy beach, deeply breathing in the fresh, salty ocean air. My terribly shattered heart slowly healed, gradually replaced by something much stronger and colder. Every single evening, I calmly listened to Liam's utterly pathetic voice messages. "Elara, my poor mother just had to quickly sell her house," he cried hysterically in one recent voicemail. "I am practically begging you." Chloe just loudly screamed at me and abruptly left. "I have absolutely nothing left anymore." He was finally hopelessly drowning in the awful mess he arrogantly created, completely suffocated by the highly toxic younger sister he foolishly chose over me. His arrogant, perfectly constructed life was rapidly crumbling completely into dust. I patiently watched his ultimate painful downfall very happily from afar, readying myself to return and deliver the final blow. I stepped out of the black town car and looked up at the towering glass skyscraper. "Are you absolutely ready for this, Elara?" Julian asked, adjusting his expensive designer tie as he stood confidently beside me on the busy sidewalk. As a highly successful rival CEO, Julian had happily helped me secretly orchestrate this absolute final hostile takeover. He greatly admired my newfound absolute ruthlessness and deeply respected my incredible personal resilience. "I have never been more completely ready in my entire life," I replied, my tone perfectly steady and calm. We walked boldly and confidently into the massive grand lobby together. Detective Vance, the incredibly sharp private investigator I had quietly hired, patiently met us by the private executive elevators as heavily planned. "I brought the physical financial files you directly requested," Vance said, handing me a very thick brown folder securely. "It is undeniable concrete proof of Liam's highly illegal financial desperation. He foolishly committed multiple careless counts of federal wire fraud just to desperately keep Chloe happy and extremely wealthy. Excellent detective work, Vance," I nodded appreciatively, firmly tucking the incredibly heavy folder carefully under my right arm. "Thank you for everything you did today." The shiny elevator doors opened smoothly on the luxurious top floor. Liam's massive emergency board meeting was already actively underway inside the main executive conference room. I did not even knock before formally entering. I simply pushed the extremely heavy oak doors completely open without warning. The entire crowded room went instantly dead silent at my sudden arrival. Liam was anxiously standing at the head of the terribly long table, sweating profusely and looking extremely pale and sickly. Chloe sat closely nearby, angrily scrolling on her expensive cell phone. They both froze entirely when they finally saw me standing powerfully right there. "Elara?" Liam gasped weakly, his tired eyes absolutely wide with pure absolute shock and sudden terrified fear. "Where have you actively been? I have been frantically searching for you absolutely everywhere for weeks." "I have been incredibly busy," Liam, I said beautifully and coldly, walking confidently straight toward him. "I was secretly buying up your massive corporate debt." "What are you even talking about?" Chloe snapped loudly and aggressively, glaring fiercely at me with pure ugly hatred. "You cowardly disappeared like a complete pathetic child." I completely and totally ignored my toxic sister. I looked directly at the weak, cowardly man who brutally broke my innocent heart. I carelessly tossed the thick evidence folder incredibly hard onto the highly expensive wooden boardroom table. "I am the anonymous primary shareholder who very recently bought your entirely failing company," I announced very clearly to the completely stunned seated board members, "and I just officially uncovered your highly illegal corporate wire fraud." Liam literally dropped heavily to his shaking knees right there in the silent boardroom. "Elara, please, I was so incredibly stupid," Liam truly pathetically begged me, his weak voice cracking loudly with pure helpless desperation. "It was entirely all Chloe's completely crazy idea, I absolutely swear to you. She heavily manipulated me into doing it. I always truly loved only you." Chloe shrieked wildly in absolute bitter outrage, fiercely throwing her phone extremely hard across the large, quiet room. "You pathetic, worthless liar! You are incredibly weak." Their extremely toxic, romantic relationship had finally deteriorated completely into absolute nothing. I looked very closely at both of them and miraculously felt absolutely nothing at all. No lingering romantic pain, no deep emotional sadness, no bitter personal anger. Just pure peace. "You desperately wanted my selfish younger sister, Liam," I said quietly, my cold voice echoing very clearly in the perfectly silent room. "Now you legally have her forever. But you absolutely no longer have my family money, my beautiful home, or me." I slowly reached straight into my designer winter coat pocket and calmly handed him a cleanly folded white legal document. "What is this paper?" he whimpered softly, his sweaty hands shaking terribly. "Your formal eviction notice," I stated simply. "You have exactly 1 hour to completely vacate my corporate building." I turned entirely around gracefully and walked straight out of the heavy glass doors, leaving him entirely broken, entirely penniless, and absolutely alone forever.